Hi, my brothers and sisters in time. This is George Alexander, CEO, founder, and chief watch designer of Maison, also known as the Black Horologist, and you have found your way to our channel. Wanted to record this first video. This is going to be the first in an ongoing series geared towards education on horology as a study and as an industry, on the watch industry in general, looking at the highs, the lows, the coolest things that you'll ever see, and some things that you may not have known. We're going to be profiling a bunch of different brands on this channel. We're going to be showing things that were honestly the inspiration for Maison as well. So I'm very, very excited to go on this journey through time with you, and to show you just a really wonderful glimpse into what makes the watch world so wonderful, right? A little about myself. I'm from Buffalo, New York, born and raised. Go Bills, go Sabres, go Bisons, and go Bandits. Gotta shout out to Dane Miller as well. I'm a Syracuse grad, so go Orange as well. Kind of fell into watches almost by accident. I was coaching basketball. I ended up meeting my wife, who you'll see on the channel from time to time as well. She is the president of Maison. So when you see her, talk to her nice, don't talk to her twice. In the interest of making sure that I had the funds to pay the bills, I ended up working in jewelry for half a decade. And in that time, my boss at the time told me, you know, if you want to be really good in this profession, learn watches, because you'll always be able to get a sale. So I immersed myself into watches and really fell down the rabbit hole of what makes them tick, or if they're really good watches, makes them sweep. And fell in love with just the craft, and fell in love with the art, and fell in love with the science, and fell in love with the design and the history. Y'all, I'm sorry if y'all hear these fireworks in the background. It is the 4th of July. But really fell in love with watches and became known for my prowess in watches, particularly with Omega, which I'll profile in a later video, Tag, and Tissot, both of which I became certified in, and got, you know, all kinds of really cool swag for doing so. And I've been raising my 3 children with a very healthy love of watches. They love to design watches as well, and they're, you know, honestly going to take over Maison de Filion when I'm done. And it really led to the inspiration for launching my own brand. And I think that if I can share with you even a little bit of what made me fall in love with watches, maybe you will too. Whether it's inspiring you to start your own brand, whether it's inspiring you to start your own collection, or just giving you a better appreciation for watches, even if you're not a watch person, and that's fine too. There's no judgment here. This is a safe space for everybody. Whether you're just starting out in your watch journey, or if you are an absolute expert who even knows more than I do, the select few of you that are out there. So very, very excited to build this community with you. Very, very happy that you are here to join me. And again, let's get back into it. So again, where I left off talking about my background, I started working at Jared, the Gallery of Jewelry, back in 2017. Goodness gracious. So 7 years ago. I was there for 5 years. And in that time, I became known for several things. Custom jewelry. Just having a very healthy knowledge of everything, being able to answer every Jeopardy question right before close, and watches. So again, being Tissot certified and being Tag Pressure Lab certified, I was able to really hone my knowledge of timepieces, and in learning more about Omega, becoming our luxury timepiece guru, and overseeing our best month in probably store history of selling Omegas. I believe we sold 11 of them that month. We were in the top 5 in all of Jared for that month in Omega sales. And that's because one of the things that I really took seriously and took to heart was making sure that myself and all of my coworkers were adequately educated on Omega, and making sure that we could have an intelligent conversation with even the most astute collector. one thing that you'll see about, watch enthusiasts and watch fans is, my goodness, they love their watches. Some of them will get mad at me for calling them watches, right? They'll get mad at me for saying watches instead of timepieces, but that's okay. It takes all kinds. It really, truly does. But honestly, again, you wouldn't believe the stories behind some of these watches that we're going to profile on this channel. You wouldn't believe the stories behind some of these brands. For example, one of my favorite brands, they produce some of the most beautiful watches you ever will see, and they've been a huge inspiration to myself and to, all of the designs that I had put forward with Maison de Filion, is Piaget. And I love Piaget. I've always loved Piaget. God bless my wife. She's probably tired of hearing me say that word, especially since she's studying psychology, so it takes on a completely different meaning. Babe, if you're watching this, I love you, and I'm sorry for driving you nuts. So Piaget, very much like Maison de Filion, founded by a guy named George, who loves his wife. And I'll get into that in a later video. And that'll be sort of the fun there. There's so many wonderful stories, and there's so many things that, your average person may not already know about watches. For instance, did you all know that there's a huge award ceremony in Geneva, Switzerland every year around November? GPHG, the Grand Prix d'Horlogerie de Genève. And y'all, if I mispronounce that, I am not French. But it is one of the coolest things that I've ever seen. And the watches that get nominated for these awards, and don't worry, when it comes time to, and they announce the nominees, we're going to go through it, and we're going to have a whole video on that. We're going to give my predictions on who's going to win and why I think they're going to win it. And basically my picks on some of the most beautiful watches in the world this year. But yeah, once you get going down that rabbit hole, you can really become immersed in it, and I absolutely see how people become obsessed. And I've had wonderful conversations about watches with some of the greatest people that you can imagine. Just super kind people of all walks of life, all races, all shades, all ages, all genders, all orientations, just anything that you can name. I've noticed that time really brings us together because it is the one commodity that we can't get back. But it's also one of the most fun commodities to measure, right? So whether you are in it for fashion, whether you are, big on your Apple Watch and want to just learn a bit more about its predecessors, whether you're, the king or queen of quartz, or whether you are a master of mechanical watches, whether you love your automatics, or whether you are super fond of your hand-wound watches, this is a place for you, and this is a community for you. We're going to hold each other up, and I want to see all of your wins, right? So if you get a new watch that you are absolutely loving, or you've got a watch that has an incredible story, please feel free to share it. Send it to us, at the Black Horologist or at Maison de Filion. Check us out at maisondefilion.com. Check out our Pistrus collection. Beautiful, beautiful tank style watches, and we'll have a later video on watch shapes and watch styles and their history, and the history of like Cartier, which is another one of my favorite brands. Tank style watches with stone dials, which we'll get into as well, and exotic leather straps with Swiss quartz movements. This is all stuff that we're going to cover in later videos, and I'm very, very excited to share my knowledge and my enthusiasm. Hopefully you get something out of these and learn something, and I'm very interested in seeing the comments and learning a lot from you all as well. I'm very, very passionate about these timepieces. I'm very, very passionate about the industry in general. There's some really cool stuff happening, from looking at the possible, I don't know if it's going to happen, so, don't y'all kill me if it don't happen, but it's possible acquisition of Richemont by LVMH. And if I'm talking gibberish to you, please stay tuned. We'll get to it. To anything else happening in the watch world. Watches and Wonders this year was fantastic. They unveiled a bunch of great new timepieces, a bunch of great new models, through a bunch of the big time brands. So if the only luxury brand that is Rolex, sit down, kick your feet up, and let me blow your mind. If you're super high on your Audemars Piguet, your Patek Philippe, Beauvais 1822, shout out to Mr. Pascal Raffi, again, Piaget, or any of the brands that exist. Even, if you're a huge Seiko person, a Bulova, a Citizen, this is the right place. You found your community. You found, a bunch of people who are going to care for you and love you and encourage you as you continue your journey through time. So again, thank you all for subscribing. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to living life in celestial motion with you.